Yo, yo, what's going on, everyone? Good to see you guys. Super pumped to be with you today. Today, I wanted to take just a few minutes. Had some extra time, so I wanted to jump on here, chat a little bit about resumes, right? And like landing that first gig, landing that first job. So if you're here in the chat, you can say what's up. I'd love to chat back and forth. I'm here to kind of answer your questions. But even if you're going to watch this a little later on, you're watching the copy of this stream, no worries. One of the things that I want to do is I just want to give you a ton of value and kind of help walk you through how I see resumes and where I'm coming from. So it's been kind of interesting because I've been working at a coding bootcamp now for a couple of months as a career services mentor, really helping people just make their resumes better. And so I've seen a wide variety of resumes. I've seen a wide variety of people and try to land jobs, and I've helped and coached people through that process a little bit. So that's kind of what I wanted to do today. I just wanted to give you kind of some of the my favorite advice when it comes to resumes. So if you've seen any of my other videos like about resumes or stuff on my YouTube channel, actually some of my stuff has changed since then. And so that's kind of what I want to address. I want to talk a little bit about that, and yeah, we'll kind of just jump on into that. So like I said, if you're here, say what's up. Want to say I want to chat back and forth with you, but if not, I want to really show you some stuff about resumes that I think is going to be really helpful. All right. So let's talk about this. First things first. How do I think about a resume? Right. Now, when I'm talking to some of my students and I'm talking about, what a resume should have, how to think about it, all that kind of stuff. One of the things that I really love to tell people about resumes is that a resume is supposed to be kind of like a movie trailer. Have you ever gone to a movie and when you get to that movie, you've realized you saw the trailer, it looks awesome. You get there and you realize you saw all the funny parts of the movie in the trailer, right? You're like, I didn't even need to come to this. There was 6 funny scenes and they showed it in the 30-second trailer, right? So it's like, what do I do with that? And what does that have to do with resumes? That's kind of what your resume is supposed to be. Your resume is supposed to be the best parts of you, just really, really condensed down and really pointed towards like just who you are. And the thing I like to tell people is this: is like, even though that movie probably like was meant, you might not have enjoyed it, you still went to go see that movie, right? Why? Because the marketing was on point. And so your resume is supposed to be it's supposed to be what's marketing you, and it has to be on point for it to really make a difference. And so here's what I want to so that's what I want to point out when we're talking about resumes and things like that. It should point out the best parts of you. All right. So I have a sample resume I'm going to show you, and then I have some different links and things that I want to pass on to you. But let's talk about some statistics that I've picked up on the internet, right? So the first one is what recruiters say get a resume rejected is number one was impersonal applications. So 84% of recruiters said that they get a resume gets rejected because of it wasn't a personal application, right? Which means you didn't change the name of the company. It was just kind of this bland thing you market out to a ton of people. I thought that was interesting. And the number one thing that recruiters say that they look for on a resume is job experience is the first thing, cultural fit, and then about 26%. So that's like 67% for job experience, 60% say cultural fit, 26% say cover letters, and then it goes down to prestige of college at 21% and GPA at 19%. So that was the JobVite Recruiter Nation report of 2016. So it's a little outdated. And I don't believe that those things reign true for tech as well. I feel like some of those are a little off for tech. So what I think a resume should be is a resume should be the best parts of your work experience. I want to look at your resume as someone who's now not only helping coach people, but also hiring people onto my own team. Like, one of the things I want to see quick and easy is I want to see the questions that are kind of in my mind is one, can you do the stuff? That's kind of the number one thing that I'm thinking, right? So what does that mean? Like, I want to know if you are like don't have any work experience, then I want to be able to see your portfolio right off the bat. Like I want to be able to click onto it. I want to be able to get to it. I want to know it's clearly marked. I want to know, can you do the stuff? Your GitHub profile. Like that's kind of the main question that I want to know. And the second thing I kind of want to know is a little bit about you, right? So first is like experience on my end, and then I want to get to know you. So those are the things that they should be spaced apart. They should be easily readable. And I'm going to give you an example in just a second. As a matter of fact, I'm going to get ready to pull that up right now. So here's what I did. All right. I created a Salesforce junior admin resume for you. Cool. Let me bring this up here. Cool. So I know I'm a little tiny in the background there, but let's go ahead and zoom this bad boy in here. And you should be able to read that pretty easily, right? So this is like a resume that I kind of created, and it's supposed to be a template. What I did was I sent it to a couple of my recruiter friends. I was like, hey, what do you see here? What looks good? What looks bad? And I got this feedback back, and I kind of conglomerated all their feedback into this resume here. My personal resume looks almost exactly like this. As far as structure and files go, obviously the experience is different. But let me tell you the story of Joshua Cruz. I named it after myself because I couldn't be creative. I don't know. So I want to tell you the story of Joshua Cruz, right? So here is Joshua Cruz is basically, he was a sales associate at this company I made up called Zillify in San Antonio, Texas. Hey, Texas people, shout out. Say what's up. And it's a SaaS company. Helping digital marketing teams squeeze every last drop from their paid marketing campaigns. So, sort of a digital marketing-esque company. He has a couple bullet points here. But he was been really wanting to break into the Salesforce space. So he started working at this. He moved to LA apparently. He started doing some volunteer work for this fake dog shelter that I made. New Haven Dogs and Paws, right? All right. So that's sort of it. And then I'm going to show you how I write bullet points, how I come across that, and some of those different things. So the way I like to start off is let's just start off right here at the top, right? So first things first, I think you should have your name up top, right? And I think that you should, I think that also up top should be just some general information about you. I want to know a little bit about you. What city are you in? Especially for those of you that aren't working in remote roles yet, I want to know what city are you in and things like that. Now, one thing that I've seen a lot of people really fail on is making sure that every one of these links here is clickable. So make sure that everything that takes me somewhere, like you don't want to make it harder for a hiring manager to click onto your resume and to try to get to places. So what you want to do is you want to make everything really clickable, really fast, that they can just log on, click on stuff, get straight to the point. That's what you're trying to do, all right? So make sure that every link, especially links to your portfolios, to your projects, all that kind of stuff, are pointing towards your to your actual URLs. All right, does that make that clear? And then this is my website, techology.co. You can meet me there, and that's also my YouTube channel, and I'm sure you're seeing all the stuff on there anyways, but you can check out some of the stuff there. All right, so now let's talk about job titles here. So here I'm seeing this is something that I would change if it was me now today, like now rewriting this. I would actually not write myself in as a junior Salesforce administrator. Anytime you write junior or fresh graduate or barely graduated coding bootcamp or some things like that, I feel like what you're telling people is I suck, right? I suck as a developer. I don't have any skills. What you don't want to do is disqualify yourself from anyone, from any job. You want to get through the interview process, let the interview process do its job, let them meet you as a person, and then maybe disqualify you in the end if they decide that you're not a good fit for the company, right? If you are a good fit, though, then you don't need to disqualify yourself, okay? So here's who I am. So that's why I tell people that are graduating our coding bootcamp, hey, I understand you're a junior developer. I understand you feel like you're you don't want to call yourself or fresh coding bootcamp graduate. Like that's technically true. But what you don't want them to do is you don't want them to read that and then just skip your resume. What you want people to do is read that and they can pick that up later on in your resume. You don't want to kick yourself out early in the process, right? Because here's the thing. You got to think about this. I'm just going to talk to you for a second. I'm going to lower this for a second. I want to just kind of chat with you. So here's the thing when it comes back to resumes. The statistic is I don't know how true it is, but this is the statistic that I had access to: is between 5 and 7 seconds is how long a recruiter or hiring manager is going to look at your resume, right? If your resume catches their eye, if they're seeing what they want, if they see what they like on your resume, great. Um, you know, then that's fine. They'll stay on your resume longer. They're going to click around, especially if they like you. If your stuff's really easy to click to, it might be longer than that. Um, actually hearing from actual recruiters, I'm hearing that they're staying on resumes longer than that, and they're actually messing around, reading through stuff, seeing if you're a good fit. But let's just take this 5 to 7 second statistic that's kind of touted out there and that I've heard of as well, and let's chat about that for a second. Now, if you have 5 to 7 seconds, what they're looking for, and they're as they're not reading your resume, they're generally scanning your resume, and if they see things they like, then they'll jump into reading. Ask me how I know this. Because I do the same. And so I'm looking at a resume, I'm reading it, and I want to make sure that this person is a good fit before I really spend a ton of time like diving deep and stuff like that. So that's how that works for me. Anyways, so back to what I'm saying. What they're looking for and what hiring managers are looking for is reasons to disqualify you. I have 15 other resumes that I need to go through, and I have 30 minutes or 45 minutes that I set aside to do this. So what does that mean? That means that I'm looking for reasons to disqualify you. I'm looking for who's the best of the best. That's kind of what I'm looking for, right? So what you're trying not to do, and the reasons I still stick by my, don't disqualify yourself in your resume. Let them choose, let them read through your resume and just choose to disqualify you if they want to, is because is for that reason. You don't need to kick yourself out of the process earlier in the process than you actually do. All right. So keep that in mind. Don't call yourself a junior Salesforce administrator. Don't call yourself whatever, don't call yourself a junior web developer. How many websites do you have to make to not be a junior web developer? How many Salesforce orgs do you have to work in to not be a junior Salesforce administrator, right? Like, no one knows the answer to those questions. And so what's the point? The point is, hey, just call yourself what you are. You're a Salesforce admin. You're a junior web developer. You're a web developer. You're a React developer. You're a front end dev. You're a back end full stack. You're a data scientist. You're UX UI, whatever you are. Okay. So keep that in mind. All right, let's talk about the summary. Now, the summary, when I send it to recruiters, they ask me to make it a little more businessy. I hate that about the summary, and I would change it. Mine's very personal. Hey, what's up? I'm Josh. I'm a certified developer, and I do this and this. I love mountain biking and real estate and helping people grow and laughing and telling jokes and whatever. Like that's just kind of how my summary. It's very personal. So if that's something that you feel like you want to keep it very businessy, that's great. My personality is like, hey, I want them to get to know me pretty well, right? So keep that in mind. When I'm coming through this. Then I'll hop into my experience section. Now, one of the things that a lot of people don't do is this keyword here. So I call this relevant experience. Why? So before, and even in my own resume, I literally have a section called relevant experience. So why do I do that? Because before I came into tech, I worked at a church for 11 years. I was a pastor. Do tech companies care about that? Some may not, but a lot of my experience there wasn't super tech related. It was really pouring into people and serving my community. So I don't have that on my resume. What else is not on my resume? You don't need to know that I was a shoe salesman at JCPenney's. True story. You don't need to know that I was a referee at a paintball field. Like, you don't need to know those things. They're not relevant to my experience. So especially for those of you that may have gaps in between like tech jobs or something like that, I think relevant experience is a great way to handle that. If they were to ask me, hey, how come your work experience only starts in 2016 and you're this years old or whatever? If they were to ask me about that, I would say, hey, it's because this is my relevant experience. If you want my full experience, I'd be happy to provide it for you. And I can show you my full work history, but I wanted to show you the jobs. I wanted to show you on my resume the jobs that were relevant to this position, so you can see what kind of skill set I've honed and grown, things like that. So that's how I would use that. And I think relevant experience is a great way to do that. I've gotten lots of interviews having my resume say relevant experience. Whoa, had to sneeze there. That's always awkward on a live stream. Okay, so then I have my job title here. I'm a junior Salesforce administrator. Now I wrote this. This is actually volunteer experience, and I wrote it like a real job. And the reason was, here, I'm going to switch this up, make this a little bigger for you guys. There we go. So the reason is because I think you can write in volunteer experience as experience. That this is your experience section, right? This is not work history. This is experience. So when you do volunteer work, you can actually talk about your experience. You can talk about your volunteer jobs as experience. I think that's very relevant, and you have, especially if you're doing real stuff. If you've worked on real websites, like that's experience you have. If you built full stack apps, that's experience you have. If you worked in Salesforce orgs, that's experience you have. So make sure you list that stuff. What I like to do is I like to give a little sentence, kind of talking about. Let me skip that over a little bit. Talking a little bit about like. What this place is. This gives people context. Are these like big companies or small companies you've worked for in the past? Like what's going on here? Like how large is this company that you're working on? So that's how I like to do that. And then bullet points are huge, and I'm gonna talk about bullet points in just a second. So there's that. I also listed out, in the Salesforce space, we have certifications. So this is actually how I listed my certifications here. Once again, this is a fake resume, so this is not my real certification, but yeah. And what I did was I actually linked this to like my Trailblazer, because right, you can verify on Salesforce if someone has a verification or whatever. So you can verify that. You can check that out, hop in there and do that. So I linked that. Once again, clickable, very easy. And then I have my projects here. Here's my portfolio, right? And so this is a fake link that I made up, but the point is this shows people what I can do. Can I do this stuff, right? I have my education listed out right here. Now, also, I missed out on an opportunity to do this correctly. If one thing I haven't quite talked about, and I'm not going to have a ton of time to really talk about today, is ATS systems and really having the right keywords to get your resume to to be found in ATS systems. So and things like that. But that's for a topic for another day, and we'll talk about ATS systems. Here's my associate's degree at AV College. You don't need to list a GPA, only if your GPA is impressive. If you barely scrape by with school like I did, like there's no reason to put a GPA. This is obviously fake, but there's no reason to put a GPA. And then I have my skills kind of broken up into different categories here in columns, so that this is all Salesforce related, but this kind of works for you. Cool. So a couple different things when I talk about this. So when I'm talking about experience, this is the main section, I feel like, of your resume, because that's the number one thing that people look for. Have you worked in this before? Have you been successful previously? What will you bring to my company? What have you done? So let's jump into one of these, and then if there's no questions, I'm just going to call it a day, and hopefully this has really been helpful to the community. All right. So this is what I like to call. All right, I'm going to kind of write on my own resume here. Let's make some space here. All right, I like to call what I like to do. This is how I write bullet points, okay? So this is what I call it, hacking your bullet points, all right? HAK your bullet points, all right? And so why is this so important? All right, so this is how I write bullet points. So I'll do what happened. Okay. I'm going to put this all in lowercase. What you accomplished. Just pretend that's spelled right. Oh boy. Always awkward typing in front of people. What you accomplished, and key, like this, key metrics. Okay. And that'll be like a number, a dollar, a percentage, etc. Cool. All right. Oh, that's a less than sign. I don't know how that got in there. Okay, so let's talk about what it means to hack your bullet points. And then I'm going to show you how I think I did a good job with some of these. All right. Bullet points, to me, if they're not tech related, what you're trying to show me is that you're not just the average employee who does their job, right? If you worked at Cinemark and you stamp tickets, like like that's not, you don't just say like process tickets for over 100 people a day. Like that's okay because it tells us what you actually did, right? The problem is that your bullet points are supposed to show that you're not just like the average employee. You kick butt at everything you touch. So I would actually say, one of the things I actually like to tell my students is it's not actually what you put on your resume that's important. It's about what you leave out. So here's why. A lot of people have all these just things that they've done after their job description, right? So you're either in one of two camps. Camp one is I have 15 bullet points after each job description. Camp two is I have one bullet point after each job description. All right. So we got to merge these two. Here's what I want you to do. It's better, in my opinion, it's better to have 2 bullet points that show you as a rock star employee where you use the hack system to really write your bullet points. Or then it is to have 25 bullet points. Why? I'm busy. As a hiring manager, I'm going to skim through your resume, right? So what does that mean? So my point is that I've seen a ton of resumes where you're like, let's go back to the Cinemark in person. Filled popcorn, work snack stand. These are all bullet points. Handed out tickets, things like that. Okay, great. So what if, let's get a little bit hypothetical now. So that shows that you're just a normal employee. Like not you're like, okay, it's okay to kind of you just do what you normally do, right? What if you implemented a new system where you took customer complaints and proactively, what if you implemented a system that, maybe you're a shift manager and you took customer complaints and proactively assigned people to handle those jobs. So maybe you saw your bathrooms were messed up, right? After every movie. And so what you did was now you proactively changed schedules to make sure that those were cleaned, when the most popular movies were getting out. Now, your customer service rating, people who have been rating you online, it went from, it increased by 15%. Now that's a bullet point worth talking about. I will say that this is not possible to do with every job. Sometimes it's just I was just unemployed, dude. That's just what I did. I get it. But I want to know, what did you do? Were you in sales? Did you increase sales? Did you increase customer satisfaction? Things like that. So, how do I know what I did, Josh? That's why I love to use this place. So the Muse has this amazing article called 185 powerful action verbs that will make your resume awesome. I use this to write all my resumes. It's legit. All right, check this out. So the way I work, I don't even read this, right? But basically these are action verbs that you can actually use to make your resume bullet points stand out. So how do I know how do I find bullet points? So I ask myself, did I lead any projects? I just kind of read these giant headings right here, and then I'll kind of read what's underneath them. So if you led a project, then these are applicable to you. If you envisioned and brought a project to life, then these are applicable to you. Does that make sense? Now you save the company time and money. You're like, oh, I did. When I was in Cinemark, right? I changed our the popcorn that we brand, to a local, whatever popcorn company. I'm making this up, obviously. And I saved, and not only was it healthier for our customers, but it was also a 10% decrease. So how would you write something like that? I would say diagnosed and reduced company expenditures by conserving or by decreasing amounts spent, increasing company revenue by 10%, right? If you decrease a cost by 10%, then you're increasing company revenue by X%, right? It's not a 1-to-1, obviously, ratio, but things like that. So if you show how you decrease something, you can show how you increase something, just different things like that. So this is how I use to write all my bullet points, pretty much. It's an amazing, amazing tool. All right, so let me show you how I did this. And let me show you how Hacked works in real life, right? 3 bullet points here, and then I'm going to call it a day. So we have created flows and automation, saving 15 hours per month. Configuring our web to lead form, modernizing the capture of lead information and follow-up with potential donors, which increased overall pet adoption by 9%. So what happened? we modernized and captured the lead. So by the way, I should say that H and A are interchangeable. You can do any of those first. What was accomplished or what happened? So sorry, this should also be what, this doesn't work with what you accomplished, right? So well, created flows and automations saving 15 hours per month. That's what happened. Or sorry, what happened was modernizing and capturing of lead information and follow up with potential donors. What you accomplished, you created the flows and automation, saving 15 hours per month, increasing overall pet adoption by 9%. Those are key there, and that's the key metrics at the end, right? Do you see how that is? So it's like, you need to tell me what happened in your bullet point, but you also need to tell me what you did in that. So if you were a part of a team or something like that did that, then you can talk about how you led the team, how you handled the front end part of a project, just different things like that, right? So what you accomplished, and then key metrics. I love to see percentages. I love to see dollar signs. I love to see numbers on there, things like that. So, and also with this, the last thing I'll say kind of about hacking your bullet points is you can also, it's okay to say, I did this by approximately 10%, approximately 15%, blah, 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 so on and so forth. So that's a little bit of an overview of a resume. And there's a lot of things that I haven't talked about here that I think can be really helpful to you. But, you know, I just wanted to hop on here today, just kind of give you a quick chat and just, you know, just say what's up to the community and just give you some value that I think could be really helpful to you. So I'm putting all this information together in a course too, so keep your eyes out for that. It's actually about 99% done. If you're watching this and you want to beta test this course with me, please let me know. I'd love to walk you through this, and I think it's going to be a great time. But yeah, for the rest of you, hopefully just kind of an overview of how I would structure my resume, how I did it. I would tell you to copy it, do exactly what I did, and I think that you're going to start to see a little bit more success. And don't forget about the Muse article and hacking your bullet points. All right. So I appreciate you guys hanging out. For those of you that watched to the end, you guys are rock stars. And for the rest of you, you know, just want to say goodbye. Thanks for hanging out. I'll talk to you later.